Hello, and thank you for watching this video. This video is brought to you by betaplan.co.uk. This video is part of our Permitted Development Rights series, a bunch of short videos with the aim of giving you essential information of how to extend your home without planning permission. This video is for when the enlarged part of the dwelling would be more than a single storey, i.e. a two-storey extension. To clarify, two-storey extensions can only be built off the rear elevation. There are no permitted development rights for two-storey extensions to the side or front elevations. Here we have two average-sized houses, a detached and a semi-detached. A link detached and a terrace would come under the same realm as a semi-detached. So we have a front elevation, a side elevation, a rear elevation, and our alternative side elevation. If we focus on the rear elevation, if I highlight the relevant parts which will affect the rules relating to an extension. We have the rear elevation highlighted, both houses. We have the boundary line to the side and the rear. We have the eaves height, which is the gutter height, and we have the ridge height, which is the highest part of the roof. Take those off, and if I now add a compliant rear extension to the house. A quick look at the angles of it so we can see what it looks like. The rules for two-storey rear extensions are as follows. The extension, including any previous extensions and any outbuildings, must not exceed 50% of the total area of land around the original house. So your garden space, once you've done all extensions, can't have more than 50% of it covered. The maximum eaves and ridge height of the extension should be no higher than the existing house. If the extension is within 2 meters of the boundary, the maximum eaves height should be no higher than 3 meters. So that is why the semi-detached house has been stepped in off the sides. This is stepped in 2 meters on each side so that you can take the actual eaves up to the same height as the original house. The detached house is 2 meters off the boundary. So you wouldn't be able to build a two-storey extension within 2 meters of the boundary. The extension of more than one storey must not extend beyond the rear wall of the original house by more than 3 meters, or be within 7 meters of the boundary opposite the rear wall of the house. So the extension here is actually a 3 meter projection, and the distance off the boundary is approximately 8 meters on this example for both houses. In respect of the roof, the extension should be no higher than the original, and it should match the same shape and pitch as the original house as close as practicable. The materials of the extension should match the materials of the original house. Any upper floor windows in a wall or roof slope in the side elevation must be obscure glazed, and no openings unless parts which can be opened are more than 1.7 meters above the floor of the room in which those are installed. I haven't done an example of a window on the side of this one, but if that one was there, it would have to be obscure and top hung, so the top hung opener is at least 1.7 meters off the internal floor. There should be no verandas and no balconies. And finally, the new roof should not exceed 50 cubic meters on a detached and semi-detached house and 40 cubic meters on a terrace house. So that space shouldn't exceed 50 cubic meters, which it's far from. Other considerations and instances where permitted development rights are not allowed, or where the rights have been removed, where it's a designated area, where it's a conservation area and the building is listed. I would always suggest a Lawfulness Certificate application to the local authority planning department. This is when the council assesses the proposed work as to if it is permitted development compliant, and they issue a letter to that effect. There is a fee and a timescale, which is normally half the planning fee, and it takes about 8 weeks. A building regulations application is required. A couple of notes on doing 2-storey rear extensions. In my experience, the 2-storey extension, the main issue is gaining access to the new rooms and not impacting the original rooms in terms of means of escape, ventilation and outlook. I'll take a look at a section here. Normally we'd form a new partition going there with a new access door into the existing room, and then form a new opening in the rear wall accessing the new room. As you can see, this would impact the window, making it smaller. Sometimes people actually substitute a bedroom and have that total access in. Likewise, if you're going on width to width extensions, obviously this affects both back windows because they're both being blocked up and covered by the new extension. The other thing I want to mention is in terms of the height and being within 2 meters of the boundary, you could probably do a single-storey extension as well as part of this, which would go to the boundary, because the height limits are only within maximum 3 meters within 2 meters of the boundary. So you could do something like that on the semi-detached house. Thank you for visiting and watching the video. Please subscribe and leave any comments.